gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Do I know what's going to happen? No, I'll guess.
We win one tomorrow. That's called a winning streak.
All right, I'm not a fucking athlete. This is my fucking way. This is how I win.
Adapt or die.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the A+ Sports League podcast, Golf Edition. We got the 2021 Farmers Insurance Open. I'm your host, Matty Maitai. With me, as always, is Chris O'Neill. What's happening, Chris?
What's going on, Matt? We're out in San Diego this weekend. One of the most beautiful courses.
My favorite, man.
Near and dear to your heart.
My favorite. I love the area.
Yeah.
I've actually been there.
You been to Torrey Pines?
Yeah. I went to see the Salk Institute.
That's right.
It's right next door.
Oh, yeah. No, I drove by it the last time I was out in San Diego. It's just the rules for getting on that course are nuts. You got to show up at a stupid hour in the morning to play the public course there. You got to leave your bag, and then they set your tee time for you. It's too much, and I was enjoying vacation in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Security very low, though, because literally, if you're at the Salk Institute, which is a famous architecture building for anyone who cares, and it borders the course, and literally there's just like a rope. And I just like walked over and walked down the course. I'm like, oh, it's the Torrey Pines. Cool. Security very low. So that said, we are out in La Jolla, California at Torrey Pines Golf Course, which is a nice long coastal course, two courses actually. Chris, do you want to give the course breakdown? Or do you want to jump into last week first?
Let's take a look at last week because I'm definitely licking my wounds from a couple of decisions that I made with this with the DraftKings lineups. I know Scotty Scheffler burned a lot of people. I wound up taking 4 out of 6 to the weekend in a couple of my lineups, 3 out of 6 in the office one that your boy Matty Maitai wound up taking down. Overall, I kind of struggled. I did hit on a couple of long names. I did make some of the money back during some of the round scoring. I know I had a good day on round 3 and round 4. We can get into some of those. Let me pull up some of the golfers that we were on last week.
To start off on our office one and done that we didn't really talk about too much last week, you ended up taking Abe Answer, who came 5th, so that was a great showing.
That was a hell of a Sunday. I was pissed. It was T-second going into the weekend, and then just backed up on
Saturday. He had a bad Saturday.
He was like one of the only people over par that day, and I don't know what it was. It was just he wasn't putting. He wasn't putting. He was hitting the ball great, and then Carter won a little lower rounds on Sunday and got himself into the top 5. I
did some digging, decided to play Sam Burns. Not great. He went +5 on the first day and then -6 the second day. So, first round of the year, he didn't look so great, but -6 was nice. He still just missed a cut. So.
Yeah, Sam Burns, we were listening to a couple of the podcasts, following a couple of the guys on Twitter, seeing that he was a very popular pick.
Oh, yeah, very.
And cutted a 5 over on Thursday.
On the easy course.
And he came back, and I think he went either 5 or 6 under, on Friday. Not enough to make the cut, but wow. I mean, that was a big miss for a lot of the people in the betting market.
I'm going to be using Sam Burns again this year. I don't know about this week, but I like him.
Okay. The king of the par 5s.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam Burns. Let's see who else we had. So
let's go. Yeah, let's do the picks from last week on the show.
I had a miserable week. So I had Henley outright, missed the cut. I had Lonto top 10, missed the cut. I had Emiliano Grillo as my sleeper, tied 37.
Which he was actually way up there and then went +4 on Sunday. So that was actually a pretty good pick.
Yeah,
it fell apart.
Speaking of people going in opposite directions on Sunday, my top 10 to fade was Cantlay, who struggled to make the cut. And then once he got through to the weekend, went 11 under on Sunday.
Finished second
place. My 7K golfer was Peter Malnati. He didn't get me to the weekend. And Marty Laird looked great on Thursday as my 6K golfer, but wound up finishing 47th.
Nice. So
nice? Is it nice?
Well, Marty Laird 47. That's not bad for 6K golfer. The rest of them aren't so great, but my golfers, I had Abraham Answer outright. He had 5th place finish. Adam Hadwin, top 10. He came in 32nd. He again had a bad weekend. He looked pretty good to start, but I think it's just not playing competitive golf for a while. Sleeper, Gary Woodland, 16th. That was good. He was kind of flirting with it the whole weekend. Didn't have quite enough, but for the first round back in a while, 16th place, I'll take that. Top 10 to fave, Fowler, 21st. Not really great, but the other guy I was thinking about fading actually was Patrick Reed. We talked about how he might be hurt. He missed the cut.
Nice call.
So it was someone I dodged in all my lineups. 7K golfer, Kevin Streelman, missed the cut. 6K golfer, Cheston Hadley, missed the cut. So our 6 and 7K golfers, not the greatest, but we had an okay week. I won the office pool using Kim, the winner of the tournament, and Patrick Cantley, so that was helpful.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a better week this week.
Yeah, note on these, some of these picks do wind up evolving. I don't think I had Lanto in here as my top 10. I don't think I put him into any of my DraftKings lineups. I had Henley as my outright. I wound up playing Answer in the one and dones. So if you want to track us, we have Matt on Instagram at A+ Sports League.
A+ Sports League on Instagram or at Matty Mai Tai on Twitter.
And I'm on Twitter at Chris Picks Golf. I'm new to the game right now at Chris Picks Golf. And as these picks sort of evolve, we're doing some more research on Wednesdays and Thursdays before these rounds. Some of these picks wind up changing for us.
Exactly.
All right.
Always keep an eye on the lines. Always keep an eye on the players' Twitter feeds because they'll let you know some things.
All right. Let's get into the course breakdown for the 2021 Farmers Insurance Open. We're going to be at Torrey Pines. This is a similar course set up to the Amex last week where they're doing the 3-in-1. They're going to have alternate courses, the South Course and the North Course on Thursday and Friday. And then the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, is going to be on the South Course. Like Matt said, it's in La Jolla, California. The North Course is a par 72. It's 7,258 yards. It tends to play a little bit easier than the South Course, where they're going to be playing the rest of the week. And the South Course is massive. Par 72, almost 7,700 yards. It's a William Bell design. It's a coastal course. If you haven't been out to this area of Southern California, a lot of cliffs, a little bit of wind might be a factor, but it's going to be a beautiful setting there.
Well, so and then just to build off of that, I already looked ahead at the weather forecast. It's going to be wet and windy on Friday. So perhaps one thing we can talk about is some sort of stack where you play because the South Course is more on the coast, North Course is a little more inland. So maybe you do a stack where you play the South Course on Thursday, North Course on Friday, because the weather's worse on Friday. So something to keep an eye out on.
Okay. We can get into that too. The green types, it's going to be POA on the South Course, bent on the North Course. The rough, it says here it might be a little penal. I think it's not going to be as bad as we've seen it on maybe when they're having the U.S. Open there. Traditionally, don't hit a ton of the fairways, a little narrow fairway width.
It's like 57% fairway hit clip, which is low.
Mm-hmm. So people are going to be hitting a lot of their second shots out of the rough. It's a longer course, longer par fours. And the winners of this course have gone 15 under, 21 under, 10 under, 13 under, 6 under. So
6 under was a really windy one. That was the Sneds one.
Yes.
So usually it's still a course that people get after, and they get a lot of birdies on this. So it's going to be a lot of shot makers. I mean, the 21 by Justin Rose is just astonishing. But if the weather gets worse on the weekends, it looks like just Friday's bad right now. But if it gets worse, it could be closer to -6, -10.
All right, Matt, do you want to talk a little bit then about the golfer profile?
Sure. So as Chris said, the South Course was redesigned in 2001 by Reese Jones, and it made the course longer. So this is a much longer course. That's why the North Course tends to play easier. I think they were about the same distance originally, but long hitters here, long off the tee. Accuracy doesn't have to be a strength because a lot of people will be hitting it into the rough. Obviously, if you're a little bit more accurate and long, that's great, but that usually doesn't coincide. Approach shots will be important, but not as important as other courses. You want to hit the greens here, but if you miss the greens here, the greens are pretty small, and your ground around the green game will have to be very important. Getting up and down is key here. I think that's why we've seen in the past a lot of guys that have bad around the green games really just kind of struggle here because rough, miss the green, can't get on in 3, and then you 2-putt for bogey, and then you're just kind of out of it if you keep doing that all weekend. Putting is important, but like I said, the greens are small, so typically if you're on them, you will be left with a 10 to 15 foot lie at worst.
Yeah, I just remember watching Mark Leishman last year, drain every single putt. It was like almost a magnet towards the hole. He carried a hot putter to a championship. But he was gained 8 strokes on the green.
Something like that. And it is wild because he was a player who was in the rough the whole weekend. He just managed to get it on the greens, and when he did, he made those big putts. So that's kind of the golfer profile. As Chris said, par fours are long here. There are 5 from 450 to 500, so that's a key range we've been looking at. And the par fives, I believe all 4 are in the 550 to 600 range. So if you're going to target any sort of proximities or distances, those are ones that I would go after in terms of golfer profile.
Yeah. And in terms of golfers that have played well here in the past, you have John Rahm, obviously Jason Day, Rose with the victory, Adam Scott, Ryan Palmer, Snedeker, and a name just like popped up a bunch at the Sony is Charles Howell III. Tends to find himself in contention at courses like this.
He's an early year kind of guy.
Yeah.
Past winner Mark Leishman.
Oh, yeah.
Won it last year at -15. He tends to play decent here.
And one of the course comps that I tend to find might not be the same exact course, but winners or people that do well here at Torrey Pines, I've seen do well at Liberty National. They tend to have the BMW victories to their credit too, and high performers there. So that's going to be the Jason Days. That's going to be the John Rahms. So when I'm building a golfer profile, it may be around the strengths of those 2 golfers and see who else is at the top of the leaderboard there.
Is John Rahm bad at any course? Like, seriously, like I feel like there's no course that I'm like, John Rahm's doesn't fit this course.
I mean, you don't really see him great on the Florida swings, but these California courses, some of the longer ones, it tends to suit his style. I mean, he's a bomber, and yeah.
Are you talking about the players when he dunked one out of the bunker?
Yeah. Let's go for the green on this one. Let's see what happens.
The Sung Jae Im pulled that this past weekend. He was in contention and then had like a bunker line, put it right in the water.
Yeah. All right.
So, do we want to get into DraftKings? We'll talk about the betting. How do we want to?
Yeah, let's jump into some of the DraftKings pricing. I think that's a good way to categorize it because you and I tend to go in different routes with this. I tend to find more value on the DraftKings side. You look a little bit more on the betting side. So let's sort right now by DraftKings pricing, and we'll start talking about the top 5 players in the field. In the 10,000 plus range, we have Patrick Reed, Schauffele, Finau, Rory McIlroy coming all the way over from Abu Dhabi, and John Rahm at the top of the list at 11-3. Out of those guys, I obviously like Finau. He was striking the ball incredible over the weekend. Had a very, very strong performance, finished top 5. He is a guy who doesn't have a ton of win equity, so as the 3rd highest priced golfer in the field, might not be the best play. Rory McIlroy I might be staying away from as a 2nd price golfer in the field, traveling 12 hours of time difference just to get back here and play the California course. He did have a great showing last week. Not as great on Sunday. Finished even to lose to Terrell Hatton by, I think, 5 strokes out there. John Rahm, obviously, is a horse for this course. He might be a very easy play up there. Patrick Reed, again, a couple of question marks. And Xander Schauffele, yeah, he's always good. He's number 1 in strokes gained in the field over the last 24 rounds. So I could see Schauffele. I could see some Rahm this week. I might stay away from some of the other 3.
All right, so here are my takes on those top 5. Rahm is a course horse, but he withdrew last week, and then I heard that he hurt himself in the gym. So I don't know if that's just him bowing out because he didn't want to play the Amex, and that was an excuse, or is he actually hurt? In which case, do you want to spend the most money on a guy who might not be fully there? I know this is a big course for him, but even if he's at 90%, I don't know if I want to pay up for that. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, this could be my idiot brain remembering that Cantlay was the highest priced golfer, and I faded the shit out of him last week, and then he came in 2nd. So
Rory, funny enough, has only played this course twice over the last 2 years. He's come 5th and 3rd. So it's hard to fade him, but I'm with Chris. I don't like him traveling across the globe. I mean, he's literally on the other side of the planet like 3 days ago, and now he's coming to play here. And his game before that was okay. It wasn't great. He kind of struggled after COVID last year, but he finished well, getting a 5th at the Masters, so an 8th at the U.S. Open. I don't blame you for playing Rory. It just scares me, and it's not Bermuda, which is his go-to. Finau has great course history here. He's finished 24, 18, 4, 6, 13, 6. That's pretty good, and he played well last week. I might be going back to him. Xander, I'm fading like my fucking haircut. Like, no way, man. Like, he's a La Jolla guy. This is his hometown. He has played this event 5 years in a row. He's missed the cut 4 times. I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if like he has a side piece that he goes sees, or like if he just it's like mom's cooking or what the deal is, but like he just doesn't do well here. So for 10-4, I'm out. And Patrick Reed, I might go back to it if my lineup needs the window, but he's not my favorite.
Oh, even with the form too, 2nd at the Tour, 5th at the U.S. Open, 2nd at the CJ Cup, 5th at the Tournament of Champions. We're staying away from Xander Schauffele.
He will be my top 10 fade this week.
All right, excellent. We can pencil that in right now. All right, let's jump down then to the $9,000 range. We have 7 golfers in this range, starting at the top with Harris English, Sung Jae, Koepka, Hovland, Matsuyama, Wolf, and last week's missed cut, right on the cut line, Scotty Scheffler at 9,000. Out of these golfers, you'd think that a course like this would fit Harris English's profile the best as one of the hotter golfers in the field. He already won at the Tournament of Champions.
Is Harris English elite?
Is Harris English elite? I'm going to say yes this week. I really like his performance, especially his recent form. He's had a really good 2020, like we said. Doesn't putt as great on POA as the other surfaces, but he's just striking the ball incredibly. His around the green game has struggled a little bit, per his typical career numbers, but overall very, very strong. I mean, he had the 6th at the RSM, 5 at the OHL, won the Tournament of Champions, and the Sony might have been the Tournament of Champions hangover, and that's still a 32nd for him. Yeah. This is going to be his first round of 2021 on U.S. soil. I think Harris English will do well this week.
He has 2 top 10s at the Farmers in his career. Last time out, he came 71st. Not bad. Other golfers I like in this range, Chris, in the 9K range, I like Hideki Matsuyama at 9,200. I'm actually going to bet him. I have an outright bet on him at 22-1. I think this course suits up very well for him. He's one that kills the par 5s. He's very long. His favorite surface, not that he's good on it, but his favorite surface is POA. He hates Bermuda, so we're getting him off the Bermuda, where at the Tournament of Champions, he lost 9.7 strokes and Sony minus 3.8. So you get him off. I mean, you bring those even back to 0, and he's competing. I mean, he came 19th at Sony just because of the ball striking. So this is a good week. This is a good tournament for him. This is kind of where he usually gets things going in terms of, waste management's next week. That's his favorite, but I think he'll do fine here. He had a 3rd place 2 years ago, so I'm on Hideki.
What do we make of Matthew Wolff after last week? It was his first tournament out in a little while, but he lost.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna lead off with that.
It was his 2nd worst tournament of his professional career around the greens. Lost 5.5 strokes around the greens, and he lost 1 stroke next to the fairway by watching his ball move. Assessed on Friday. I know it was. We were watching him. My brother and I had picked him in the one and done, and his 2nd shot of the day was standing over it for about 10 minutes because we couldn't really tell what had happened. But yeah, Matthew Wolff, I do like. I feel like this course also fits his profile. He's a bomber. He can get out there. And in previous finishes, like I said, I used the BMW for a little bit of a comparison here, and he finished 16th there this year. I like Matthew Wolff.
I do too, Chris. It's one of those things where he plays U.S. Opens, PGA, like majors level events well. And while Torrey isn't fully set up for the U.S. Open that is later this year, it's still that caliber of golf course. And I think that it suits his game very well. As long as, as you said, around the green, he needs to stick his greens. If he misses the greens, he's going to struggle because he doesn't have a good around the green game. But he's number 1 in approach over the last 24 rounds of all the golfers in the field. So that should be good. 8th in par 4s from 450 to 500. So I like Matthew Wolff, and at 35-1, he's a high consideration for outright bet.
Oh, definitely. Yes, he's a very competitive golfer. I'll be on Matthew Wolff this week.
Brooks Koepka is another name I like. In terms of the betting market, he's 35-1, Chris. I don't care what you say. If you're going to be Brooks Koepka at 35-1 in a non-major event, sign me up. I mean, you make it a major, and he's going to be 15-1 or higher. And this, while isn't a major, is a big course. It's a historic course, and it's one that I think Brooks is actually going to try. He played last week, got that under his belt like a couple of rounds. He missed the cut, but it doesn't really bother me too much. And he's not as bad around the greens. He's good with the proximity ranges. He's good with the approach. I'm going to play Brooks here.
He's missed cuts his last 2 times out But I do think that he will be a faded pick this week because I think people will be off of him. So that could be a way that you get some leverage in DraftKings too if you wanted to go that route.
Good contrarian play, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else I'm looking at, Victor Hovland. I don't know what it is about this course, but when I hear 7,700 yards, I just think of somebody absolutely smashing the piss out of their second shot from the fairway. And that video of Victor Hovland going driver off the deck to put it on the green, 600 yards. I forget the tournament. I just see a very strong iron play, can hit from 200 plus out. Victor Hovland smashes the ball. I don't know. I could see playing a little bit of him here. He won the OHL 2 tournaments ago, 15th at the Houston. Played U.S. Open well. BMW not so great.
Can I tell you a fun little story about Victor Hovland?
Sure, go for it.
So earlier this year, when the golf tournament or the golf season started, I wanted to bet Victor Hovland to win the U.S. Open because I thought the U.S. Open was at Pebble Beach this year. Because Victor Hovland, in his debut at Pebble Beach, came in 4th. So I thought, oh, wow, Victor Hovland 45-1, great bet. Wrong, it's at Torrey Pines. But seeing that he is 24-1 in the betting market and top 10 player in the DraftKings pricing this week, he might be a good U.S. Open bet. But it was definitely the wrong bet. I think it's just, is around the green game going to be good enough? Because it's usually pretty bad. And if he misses the greens, he's going to struggle.
And POA is his worst putting surface.
Correct.
Might not get the same performance that you'd get even on a bad Victor Hovland putting week.
We'll see. But he is hot, I think. As you stated, he won a tournament two tournaments ago. So.
All right, into the 8,000s, we have last week's winner, Siwoo Kim. Bubba Watson, who traditionally plays this course very well. Last year's winner here, Mark Leishman. Day's got a couple of victories here. Cam Smith, Ryan Palmer, who always plays this course well. Adam Scott, Billy Horschel, Will Zalatoris, Ricky Fowler, Louis Yu.
A lot of Australians in there, huh?
I know. I don't know what it is about these West Coast courses. I tend to put a lot of Australians into it. I'm going to love Adam Scott this week. I'm going to love a little bit of Mark Leishman. I think he's rounding himself back into form, and he's in a place that he's liked. These numbers for Mark Leishman are going to be a little bit skewed. When I'm looking at the last 50 rounds, you get that poor middle of the year last year, Mark Leishman. When you narrow it up to the last 24 rounds, you get his performances at the Sony, you get his performance at the TOC, and now that he's back in sort of West Coast time, hopefully Mark Leishman can become the Mark Leishman that was competitive at the beginning of the year last year, where he won the Farmers, 28th at the Sony, 2nd at the API before the break.
Yeah, it's actually wild. So the Sony last week, or 2 weeks ago, was the first time he's gained strokes putting since the Memorial back in July. So I think that's going to be a key to him, is making sure he can putt. And he got 8 strokes putting last year. I don't know if that's luck or not. Okay, actually, my favorite Aussie of all the golfers in here is actually Cam Smith. He's just been playing really well overall, and I think, with his showing at the Masters and the Tournament of Champions, and even at Sony a couple weeks ago, he lost a bunch putting, but he gained a bunch off the tee. So I just feel like he's a sneaky play here, and he's the highest in my stat model. So I'm at 8,500. I think it's a good price on him.
Okay, I'm going to stretch this 8,000 range down just one more Aussie because he had an incredible weekend, finished in the top 3, and he's been my fantasy darling for the past couple of months, is Cam Davis. Cam Davis is a very strong golfer right now. He's striking the ball incredibly. His around the green game isn't as competitive as it would be or for what we're expecting out of our golfers this week, but he's getting great off the tee. He's putting well above his career average right now. Like I said, the 3rd at the Amex, he had the 6th at the Sanderson Farms. This course style might not fit him, but if we traditionally see the Adam Scotts and the Leishmans and the Jason Days, the Aussies of the world doing well here, I think that it's a golf course profile that could work for him.
Yeah,
I could play Cam Davis this week.
I hear you. It's not a bad play. I'm going to actually jump up a little higher. One golfer I really like, Ryan Palmer at 8,400. He's 10th in my stat model. He's played really well. I used him actually as a one and done at the Sony. He came in 40th, but the 2 tournaments before that, it was 4th and 4th. His career at Farmers, 21st, 13th, 2nd, miscut. Miscut was a decade ago. So good recent form over the last 3 years. He's finished top 21 at Farmers. It's a course that fits him really well. I don't think I'm going to put an outright bet on him, Chris, but I think top 10 is a really nice play at plus 500. I mean, this course just suits him well. And honestly, Ryan Palmer and John Rahm course correlations are very similar. So this is such a ROM course. I feel like it also just fits the profile of Ryan Palmer, and he has decent form. So that's someone I'm definitely going to be betting on and probably playing at 8,400.
Okay. And then just above him, can we talk about Jason Day? I mean, this is his course, right? The Farmers
He's won it twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's won it twice. 16, 5, 1. Miscut in the 16-17, battling some injuries, and then first, second, ninth, miscut.
I never know what to do with this guy. I love Jason Day. He's one of my favorite golfers on tour. But 12 his last 5 tournaments, 12th miscut, 7th, 60th miscut. Like it's just he's up and down so much.
I know he's so streaky. I can tell. Like when he's healthy, he can rattle off just like he did in July and August. The 7th of the Workday, 4th of the Memorial, 6th, and a 4th of the PGA. And he's playing difficult courses with some of the best talent, the deepest fields on tour, and just dominating and rattling off top fives like it's not a big deal. So,
his around the green game is the best part of his game, and it usually plays well at Farmers. So I think it's a good play. I do. I get worried about it because he's just so inconsistent.
you could pull a Charlie Hoffman and have a weekend withdrawal.
Well, and that's the thing too. You never know when that guy just wants to hurt his back. So Jason Day is always a scary play for me, but there's no person in the field that has better course history at this course than Jason Day, other than Tiger Woods, who's not playing this week. Yeah, Adam Scott, I'm kind of on. I don't mind it at 83, but he's burned me before. Billy Horschel, I don't know what the fuck he's doing here. He's super high in the betting odds. Like he's higher than Wolf, Scheffler, and Brooks. So I don't get it. He's a Bermuda guy. I just don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, I tend to not play Billy Horschel outside of the state of Florida.
We kind of glossed over the top of this. Siwoo Kim, defending champ from last week. Do we want to play him, or do you think he's going to just have that burnout from winning last week tournament?
I think he's going to have the burnout. I love Siwoo, but he's like a yo-yo sometimes. He'll go out there and he'll ball strike better than anybody else in the field, and then he also has the potential to go 6 over on Thursday and miss the cut by about 12 strokes. So I don't know. I'm fading Siwoo just because
I think it's the price.
Yeah, the price is a little high, and trying to get that out of consecutive tournaments for him. Last couple of times he's gone top 10. He was top 10 at the Shriners. He was 17th at the CJ Cup. He was 3rd at the Wyndham, 39th at the Northern Trust. He was 5th at the Wyndham the year before, 84th at the Northern Trust. So he doesn't tend to follow up some of his better performances with some solid results. So
his last 3 results at the Farmers, 18th, 35th, 29th. So it's not like he's I don't know if he's going to win, but he's never missed the cut, and he's usually at least close.
Okay.
It's worth a thought.
I feel like you are getting win equity, though, out of some of these people. I feel like Adam Scott can go out and win this tournament. Ryan Palmer can go out and win this tournament.
I agree.
With Siwoo, I don't feel after the week that he just had, I don't know if he's somebody who can stay hot.
I agree.
I don't know if he can go out and win this tournament out of this range.
Yeah, 8,900.
Better talent around him.
Yeah, 8,900 might not be enough to just make the cut. So,
all right, let's jump down to the sevens because I know our favorite name on the board is at the top. You're already shaking with excitement. 2 of our top names now. So we're gonna start with Cam Davis. We already talked about Cam Champ, Woodland, Molinari, and the 7,000s. We'll do the top of the 7,000s again down to 7,500, and get names: Griot, Gooch, Spieth, Howell, Hoffman, who I guess hasn't withdrawn yet, Ortiz, and
Connors, Burns.
All right, so out of this, I know Gary Woodland gets you all hot and bothered this week.
Chris, I was on him last week at 70-1. He came out, he birdied, he had good rounds every round. He wasn't great, but he was consistently -4 every single day of the tournament. He showed that his back isn't hurting him as much anymore, and his shoulder's fine. And he just looked like the old Gary Woodland. Gary Woodland is the same odds this week as he was last week. Last week he was 70-1. This week he is 70-1 again. I already put the outright in on him. I think this is a great course for him. The best putting surface for him is POA. So he take him off Bermuda. Now you put him on POA, which is his favorite surface. And course history-wise, he missed the cut last year, but before that, 9th, 12th, 20th, 18th, 45th, 10th. He's great at this course. Can he win? I don't know, but I think he's definitely going to be competing. I'm going to be using him in DraftKings at 7,800, and he has my outright bet. So I'm all over Gary Woodland.
Yeah, when I talk about the 7,700 yard course, the Victor Hovland going driver off the deck, I just remember the Gary Woodland going 240 over the bunker at the U.S. Open out on the West Coast a couple of years ago to take that tournament down. And yeah, it could fit his profile. Maybe it's just the fondness of that memory that keeps having us go back to the well at Woodland when we see him in that 70, 80 to 1 number.
Well, yes, I agree with you. The California golf, and the thing is, in terms of stats, he's 108th in mine. So he was so bad before the last tournament that he's not going to show up in stats. You're going to be scared. It was miscuts, like -10 on shots gained total, and he doesn't pop. But if you watched him last week, he looks like a completely different golfer. And then yes, I think of the U.S. Open and think that's who I want to play.
Okay, I might go in a completely different direction with a golfer that looks like a completely different golfer from his recent poor form. Francesco Molinari got himself a top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you give yourself enough credit for jumping on him at 7,000. He's starting to price himself way up. He's at 7,800 this week. I don't know if this course profile fits him too much, but it's good to see him back there making shots.
Yeah, it's a guy that I think could make the cut here. He has a great short game, and yeah, I had him at 110 to 1 last week, and he came T8. Like, I should have done a top 10 each way. I didn't think about it, but he looks like he might have finally gotten over the yips from the Masters 2 years ago, and maybe is getting back into form. We'll see if he can do it twice in a row. Corey Connors, first tournament of the year, he actually pops. I mean, I know he hasn't played in a while, but he's 12th in my stat model. What do you think of him?
I don't know if this is a Corey Connors course. I think he's rounding into form. I don't think that the driving distance is there. He's pretty accurate off the fairways, but with a lot of rough, and being accurate might not matter as much if everybody's going to be missing the fairway. So you want a better approach game out of people, and you want a better around the green game. And Corey Connors is, where is he right now? He's 77th in the field around the green, and short game is 110th in the last 50 rounds. So he can get there. He can stay safe off the tee. I just don't know if he's going to be finishing these holes. And he's not the strongest putter.
Never, not even close. Him and Grillo have a fan club.
And Poa is his worst surface to putt on, so I might be staying away from Corey Connors this week.
Okay. As a pivot play, I might just jump back into the Sam Burns well. He burned me, no pun intended, last week, but he's still 6 in my model, and I think he just had to shake off the rust of that first round. The second round he went -6, so I might play him, not a lot, but as a pivot play.
Great. Who else do we like in this range?
I like the Gooch.
Yeah.
He's 4th in par 5s, 550 to 600 over the last 24 rounds. He has decent course history here. I think he came third T3 2 years ago, so it's a guy at 7,600 I like. You?
Jason Kokrak can smash the piss out of the ball. Recent form hasn't been what it was. We didn't want him to continue that trend after the CJ Cup, and he's gone 17 miscut, 35, 56, so almost getting progressively worse since then. So I might be staying away from Jason Kokrak there. Jordan Spieth, obviously, I'm not touching him until I see him perform for the tournament. Emiliano Grillo, though, was competitive last week. Like we said, he had that sort of reverse round where he gained putting and missed on approach in some of the later rounds of the Amex. He finished 37 at a terrible, terrible Sunday, but he's somebody who started off the weekend hot, and maybe it was just a fluke, and maybe he can carry that over to Torrey Pines.
Okay. Want to jump down in the lower sevens here?
All right. I'm not going to name everybody. We got Norin Griffin leading the way at 7,400. Max Homa, one of last week's darlings, another guy who had a very difficult Sunday. We go down. We got Adam Hadwin, Moore, Gim, Straka, Glover, Hahn, and one of the guys that I liked on some of the weekend scoring, Cameron Tregale. And Russell Knox actually had himself a hot little weekend, too.
And the very bottom of the 7K range is course darling Brandt Snedeker, who has looked terrible, but has won this tournament multiple times, and who knows. But real quick, there's a name you didn't mention I really like this week, Sepp Straka. I think at 7,100, he's going to be a pretty good play. I know a lot of people were on him last week, and he missed the cut and looked like shit. But before that, he was trending hot, and I just think he can hit the piss out of the ball. He has a decent course history here, so I might jump in on him.
Yeah, last week at the Amex, it was his third worst tournament ever in strokes gained approach. He's typically good with his irons. It was a bad performance, so that might be a good play in DraftKings if you think, okay, he's going to use the weekend off to get his mind right, get back in gear. He had been good before. He was a 5th at the Houston. 44 at the RSM, made the cut at the OHL, and 25 at the Sony. So Sepp Straka could be somebody that we could get back to.
Yep. You want to talk about your boy, Doug Gim?
Oh, the Gim
Because he
Reaper.
pops in my model.
Yeah, no, he's a strong ball striker. He's really good tee to green. His putting has been getting there, and he did do well last week. He was 5th the Amex. I mean, that's just an incredible performance. I think a lot of people were off of him because he rated out so highly prior to the Sony that he burned a couple of people there. But yeah, I could see myself using a little bit of Doug Gim.
Nice. Another golfer I like in this range is Doc Redman, 7,100. I'm a sucker for Doc. POA is not his preferred surface, but I don't know. I might just jump into him. I think his form isn't great. He definitely is better, but he's good at coastal courses. He came 4th at Bermuda, 3rd at Safeway. I just think he might do well here, and he can handle windier conditions a little bit better. But for 7,100, I think I can take that risk.
Yeah. All right, and how about the wheels absolutely falling off the Maverick McNeely wagon? Holy shit. All right, so Thursday, he was like 7 under through 7 holes or some stupid number, and then wound up backing up like crazy. Let me pull up Maverick McNeely.
Oh, yeah, minus 6.5 shots gained approach last week, minus 10 tee to green.
Yeah, but he started off, he had a 67 in the first round, but his front 9, yeah, birdie, 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 eagle, birdie, and then, yeah, so he's 6 under through 7, and he finished the tournament plus 3. And for somebody who had been striking the ball, he was sort of changing his game. He was traditionally, a very, very strong putter, has lost putting in each of the last 4 tournaments and 5 out of his last 6. So when you think that the game's sort of coming along for somebody like McNeely, it's losing in one of his strengths, which is not something that you want to see. But he does putt very, very well on POA. He's plus 0.6 gained over the field on POA greens, which is one of the better players in the field.
It's not bad. A couple other names that kind of intrigued me down here. EVR was Eric Van Rooyen was a very popular pick last week for people. I think this course suits him a little bit better. He's strong on like U.S. Open, PGA, championship level courses, and this plays a little bit more to that instead of the Sonys and Safeways, which are easy fields, and he misses the cut. But he seems to do better in stronger events. He's almost like the Matthew Wolff light version. If Matthew Wolff is Bryson light, then EVR is like Matthew Wolff light. So at the price range, he might not be too bad, and I don't think too many people will play him after he kind of burned people last week. And then one that's really, really intriguing to me, Harold Varner III, in my stat model over the last 24 rounds, is number 1. But I look at his recent form, it's not great. And then I go look at course history. The last 4 years he's played the Farmers, he missed the cut every time. So I'm not playing him, but it's just weird. Sometimes the stats just lead you in weird directions.
When Harold Varner's number 1 in your stat model, you might want to recorrect or adjust a couple of things to get a little accurate picture there.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just jump down to the 6s unless there's someone else you want to talk about.
No, we can jump down to the 6s, and outside of listing every name that I see down here, I think we can just cherry pick. And one of the guys that I like, one of the best ball strikers from last week, was Luke List. I did not have him going into the tournament, but when I was doing some of the in-tournament stats, he kept popping up at the top of the model there. And I could see myself playing a little bit of Luke List. He's a bomber, hits the piss out of the ball. We need length on this setup this week.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely true. Opposite of that, I kind of like Kevin Streelman. He burned me last week, but he's had good form and he has good course history. That's a guy I like. Another guy I'm going to go back to just because he's been playing decently well is Pat Perez, 6,600. He's always just having a good time. I mean, it's still Cali, so I feel like Pat Perez is just going to put the flat brim on and have a hell of a weekend. Like Justin Suh, 6,600. If you want just a bomber, Jonathan Vegas at 6,500. 6,400, Chris's boy, Chase Seifert.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got a response from Chase Seifert this weekend. Loved seeing him kicking ass on Saturday. He was somebody I was on. I had no idea why, and kind of did some research later on in the week at some of the course comps that we were using and some of the similar names that we've seen at the top of leaderboards. And yeah, Chase Seifert had himself a great weekend. I think he finished T13.
Yeah, he had a great weekend. He reached. He responded to Chris's tweet. He's
our first professional golfer mention. It was T12, not T13.
T12. Yeah, he's a man of the podcast. We'd love to have him on sometime. We got to get a few more listeners, and we might actually get him out here to talk to us. I also like Henrik Norlander. I mean, at 6,900, I'm jumping back up, but he's 11th in my model. He's a guy I always love to play in this lower range, and he came 12th at the Amex, which is good because he missed his previous 4 cuts. But I don't know, he's a guy that I just feel like can kind of play some of these courses decently well, especially with his approach game that's not too bad. His around the green game sucks though, so be wary of that. What do you think of Peter Malnati this week, Chris? He's been your boy.
Nope, I'm done. I'm done. I'm all out. I'm sorry, Peter. I've been on you the last couple of weeks. You started off solid at the Sony going into the weekend, and it's been all downhill since then. I'm going to get away from Peter Malnati, throwing him into as my 7K guy or 6K guy this week.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. Anyone else you want to talk about the 6Ks?
Let's see.
Real quick. And we got to get to our picks.
Now, let's just jump to our picks.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to do a little more dissecting to get some names out of the bottom of here.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so with that, let's go to our picks for the week. Chris, who is your outright pick for this week?
My outright pick this week, I'm going to go back to the well here. I'm going to go with somebody who's got good course history. Is this outright going to be also a one and done?
It doesn't have to. I mean, who do you think will win the tournament? You can pick anyone to win. Who do you think is going to win the tournament?
I think John Rahm's winning this tournament.
Okay, so then John Rahm it is.
All right. Yep.
Well, I'm going to be just as chalky. I think my favorite outright, I thought about it more as we were talking about this podcast. I'm going to pick Rory.
Really? Why?
Third and fifth, man. He loves this course, and he's a bomber. He fits the profile of what you want here. He has great around the green game.
Yeah, and
in general.
Maybe we're thinking about early season Rory, too, last year. We were just rattling off top fives every single time he teed it up.
I don't like that he's traveling across the country, but...
across the country? He's traveling across the fucking world.
Across the world. My bad. My alternate play, I think, is Finau, but he's the top three. I like all of those guys. So top 10, Chris. Who do you have finishing top 10?
I like Matthew Wolff to finish top 10. He's somebody who's outside of the top 10 in the betting market. But yeah, like we said, he's a bomber. I think he's somebody who will improve off of what happened last week. Strikes the ball very well. And when he gets the putter going, he can be a strong golfer. So I like Matthew Wolff top 10.
Okay, I'm going to do Ryan Palmer. I'm betting him top 10 at plus 300. I just think he's a good value, but he's got good course history. He comps with Rahm, who does great here. He loves Cali golf, and he's good on POA. Sleeper, Chris.
All right. My sleeper this week is going to be it's going to be Cam Davis. I think he can do a repeat performance. He's been hot of late. He's been one of my favorite golfers to watch. I feel like I got to go with the Aussie at some point here, and he is currently going off at 7,900. He's priced in the 7,000 golfers, and I think he has top 10 to top 5 potential.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find him here on the outright bets. He's 70 to 1 to win, so not a bad sleeper.
Same odds as Gary Woodland.
Same odds as Gary Woodland, who is my sleeper, Chris. 2 weeks in a row, I'm going back to the well on Gary Woodland. I just think at 70 to 1, he's a U.S. Open winner. He can win this tournament, and at that price, I bet him every day.
Okay, your top 10 golfer to fade, we already talked about this, is going to be Xander Schauffele.
Fade him like a haircut.
Fade him like a haircut. And I'm going to stay away from Patrick Reed until I see better form or a better report about either his health or getting his game back in order. So I'm going to stay away from Patrick Reed this week.
Yeah, it's just sketchy. 7K golfer, Chris. Who do you like?
I don't have that right now, but I think... we could go with Cam Davis because he was 7,900, but let me...
a little diversity.
Veer off that a little bit. I'm going to go with course history guy, Charles Howell III. I think he steps up when the course suits him. He's traditionally done pretty well here. He had a T19 at the Sony, which is one of his favorites, and in the past year he's gone 20th, 6th, 2nd, 5th, 9th, 9th, 14th. I feel like I could put him in a couple of lineups in the 7,000 range.
Nice. Okay. Player I'm going to take the most in the 7Ks, especially where his price is, I just think he fits this place perfectly, is Taylor Gooch, 7,600. Course history, good recent form. Last week he came 21st, and he lost shots around the green, which I think the most in his career. Yep, most in his career by double shots lost around the green. I don't think that's going to repeat itself. I think he's going to have a good week.
Okay. All right, and then in the 6,000, guy that I like, very strong putter, putts very well on POA, and he is third in the field in his last 24 rounds in driving distance. At 6,800, I like Wyndham Clark this week. He's striking the ball well. He has a good around the green game. Not as strong on the approach, but I feel like he's somebody who traditionally can get up and down pretty well. 6,800, Wyndham Clark.
Okay, I'm between two guys. I love my boy Pat Perez, but I don't want to keep going back to that well. Luke List is a very popular one as well. I know a lot of people will like him, and the only issue I have is course history. He's missed the cut half the time. I'm going to go with Kevin Streelman. I just think Streelman's going to be good. Good course history, and I think he has a bounce back. Who was yours?
Mine was Wyndham Clark.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that'll do it for our picks. One and done, Chris. Anything that you're thinking of?
I haven't talked too much to my brother about the one and done, but I might go with Jason Day just to be safe.
It's not a bad one. I think I'm leaning Decky.
Yeah, go for it.
I'd
be saving him for the waste management, but
yeah, well, that's my pivot
plan. This week or next week.
This week or next week, and I think everyone's going to take him next week. So I'm like, I might jump on it early. I got to do some more research, but I'm leaning Matsu.
All right, I'm taking Jason Day.
Perfect. All right. Anything else you want to touch upon this week, Chris? Or
no, I think that's it.
Ready to gamble.
Yeah,
I'm excited. It's going to be a much better week than the Amex for sure. There's still one course that we're not going to get shot link data on. That's the North course. They don't do.
Oh, NBC's doing a side-by-side betting thing this week.
Ah, yes, you saw that. Yeah,
I saw that. I'm gonna have to look into the details of it as the week goes on, but yeah, I would love to see what that looks like.
I agree.
Yeah, who the analysts are, what numbers they're getting.
Betting's getting much more involved with actual broadcasting, and I love it. So
bring up the live lines of somebody in the middle of the putt, which I hope they bring back. The feature that I want with golf, not betting wise, but I want to know when someone's on 18 and they have a 10-footer to make par, and it's the difference between 5th place and dropping down to like T10 or something like that.
How much money?
I want to know how much money they're losing.
Yeah.
I want a ticker on the side of the TV that shows us something like that, because that'll just make it more interesting on our end. Because we're in the one and dones and we're paying attention to stuff like that, but the regular golf fan doesn't understand that too much. I don't think, like, oh, what's the difference between a couple of spots in the standings? And it's a couple $100,000.
Yeah. So it gets exponentially worse, just from even 3rd to 5th. Yeah. So it's pretty wild. I'm glad they're getting more involved with the broadcasting, and hopefully this becomes more regular when it comes to a lot of these tournaments, especially some of the smaller ones.
All right. I'll be posting my lineups to @ChrisPicksGolf on Twitter later in the week once I get a couple of things ironed out, and I'll have some more tidbits information on there. Matt?
I'll be putting some outright bets on our Instagram page at A+ League on Instagram and at Matty Mai Tai on Twitter. So if you want to see those, they will be up there. My final card, and we will kind of track some of our golfers throughout the weekend. Cool. We're on Spotify. Rate, review there, or we're on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe. You get all our podcasts up there. So,
all right, that's it. We have Torrey Pines this weekend, one of the most beautiful courses. It's going to have some fantastic views. I know Matt's going to be pumped with the San Diego course this week.
Love it. My favorite area. So, thanks again for listening, and good luck with all your bets. See ya.